President Donald J. Trump has wasted no time in reviving his signature hardline immigration policies, placing a renewed emphasis on mass deportations. Just days into his new term, Trump signed a series of executive orders aimed at swiftly removing undocumented immigrants from the United States. This aggressive approach marks a return to the central theme of his previous presidential campaign and presidency. Trump has repeatedly vowed to deport millions of undocumented immigrants, framing it as a necessary step to restore law and order. His administration has set ambitious goals for deportations, signaling a significant escalation of immigration enforcement activities across the country. Trump's focus on deportations has been a constant throughout his political career. He first rose to prominence by questioning the legitimacy of former President Barack Obama's birthplace and pushing for stricter immigration controls. His 2016 presidential campaign was built on a platform of building a wall along the US-Mexico border and deporting millions of undocumented immigrants. While his administration faced legal challenges and logistical hurdles during his first term, Trump remained committed to his hardline stance on immigration. Now, with his return to the White House, Trump appears determined to make good on his promises. He has appointed staunch immigration hardliners to key positions within his administration, signaling his intent to prioritize deportations. The executive orders signed in his first week in office provide a clear roadmap for his administration's immigration enforcement strategy, one that prioritizes swift and decisive action. At the heart of Trump's deportation agenda is Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, the agency tasked with carrying out his directives. ICE officers have been empowered to conduct widespread arrests and deportations, with a renewed focus on speed and efficiency. The administration has set daily arrest quotas for ICE agents, aiming to significantly increase the number of undocumented immigrants detained and removed from the country. To facilitate this, ICE has been granted broader authority to conduct enforcement actions, including the controversial decision to rescind sensitive location protections. The reversal of sensitive location policies, which previously limited ICE enforcement actions near schools, hospitals, and places of worship, has sparked widespread fear and outrage. Critics argue that this policy change will have a chilling effect on immigrant communities, deterring individuals from seeking essential services and creating an atmosphere of anxiety and distrust. The expanded authority granted to ICE has also raised concerns about potential abuses of power and the erosion of civil liberties. In addition to bolstering ICE's enforcement capabilities, the Trump administration has also reinstated the controversial Remain in Mexico policy. This policy, officially known as the Migrant Protection Protocols, or MPP, requires asylum seekers arriving at the US-Mexico border to wait in Mexico while their cases are processed in US immigration courts. The policy has been widely criticized by human rights groups, who argue that it exposes vulnerable asylum seekers to dangerous conditions in Mexico and denies them access to due process. Trump's ambitious deportation agenda faces significant challenges, including funding constraints and mounting legal battles. Implementing mass deportations requires substantial resources, and ICE has already indicated that it needs a significant budget increase to carry out the president's directives. However, securing additional funding from Congress could prove difficult, particularly given the opposition from Democrats and some moderate Republicans who have expressed concerns about the human and financial costs of mass deportations. The Trump administration has also faced swift legal challenges to its immigration policies, with several states and cities vowing to resist the president's agenda. Sanctuary jurisdictions, which have policies in place to limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement, have become a particular target of the administration's ire. The Justice Department has threatened to withhold federal funding from sanctuary cities and has pledged to investigate local officials who obstruct immigration enforcement efforts. These legal battles are likely to be protracted and could ultimately determine the fate of Trump's deportation plans. Despite the legal and logistical hurdles, the Trump administration has shown no signs of backing down from its hardline approach to immigration. The president has repeatedly declared a national emergency at the southern border, a move that allows him to bypass Congress and redirect funds to build his border wall and increase immigration enforcement activities. However, this tactic has also faced legal challenges, with critics arguing that the president is overstepping his constitutional authority. Trump's renewed push for mass deportations has ignited a firestorm of controversy, deepening the already stark political divisions in the United States. Immigrant rights groups have condemned the administration's actions, warning of the devastating human toll of separating families and upending the lives of individuals who have built lives in the United States. They argue that the focus on deportations ignores the economic contributions of immigrants and creates a climate of fear and uncertainty. The administration's policies have also drawn criticism from some law enforcement officials who argue that the focus on mass deportations undermines community policing efforts and makes it more difficult to build trust with immigrant communities. They worry that the fear of deportation will make immigrants less likely to report crimes or cooperate with law enforcement, hindering efforts to ensure public safety. The debate over immigration is likely to continue to rage throughout Trump's presidency, with both sides deeply entrenched in their positions. The president's supporters applaud his hardline stance, arguing that it is necessary to protect national security and preserve American jobs. His opponents, however, view his policies as cruel and inhumane, arguing that they are driven by xenophobia and a desire to scapegoat immigrants for the country's problems. As the battle over immigration continues, the nation remains deeply divided, with the human cost of these policies playing out in communities across the country.